Laurie Laxon tonight with Craig Laxon, Roger Laxon and Lucy, and New Zealand bloodstock Sir Peter Vella, the sponsor of Laurie Laxon. Laurie, it's always a pleasure to see you in New Zealand. You like coming back here even though you're such a champion in Singapore?
Oh no, it's always great to be home. New Zealand will always be home for me.
Is it a case of that one day you will settle and retire from training up in Singapore? But at the moment, hopefully that's not too far away. I hope you're going to stay there for a while.
Oh, as long as my health's good, which it is, and I'll continue on there. I have 62 horses and 35 staff, and so it sort of makes life much easier than it used to be here in New Zealand.
The reason why you decided to go to Singapore, at the time you were at the top of your game here in New Zealand. You were training Melbourne Cups, as we saw over there. You were training Oaks winners, you were training Derby winners, left, right and centre. You decided to make the call to go to Singapore. You could have gone to Australia, I guess, but why Singapore?
Well, Singapore's very efficient. They only have one race course, and the worst race they raced for was $35,000, and open class horses can't race for less than $125,000. Plus, they pay the trainers $400 a runner appearance fee, and there's no travelling, no floating. Everything's on track. We've done the hard yards here in New Zealand, no doubt about that.
You're a great salesman, no question about that. When you start thinking about some of the great horses you've trained, and there have been so many of them, I start thinking about the times when the Empire Roses, the Romney Contis, and the like were going around, and you seem to have a stable full of one horse who's been inducted into the Hall of Fame in the past.
Yes, I was lucky to be training in the time of Sir Tristram. I trained Noble Heights, who was a champion 3-year-old filly out of Sir Tristram's second crop, and it just went on from there. And I was quite lucky that I had Empire Rose and Romney Conti and Finesse Bell and Riverina Charm. They were all by Sir Tristram, and I was sort of so lucky to be having such a good run with them. And because of Noble Heights, I seemed to get all the Sir Tristrams and Paddy Bussett, and because he had Castletown, got all the £1 sterlings.
I think you did better. Is it fair to say then, what you were telling me upstairs before, that person like yourself made Sir Tristram?
Yeah, Patrick, thanks for that. He used to give me a free service every year.
Yeah. In the situation that you've been with I see a horse up there in Hong Kong who won for you all those years ago, Romney Conti, and what a lot of people wouldn't realise, the horses that ran second, third, fourth and fifth all turned out to be almost international champions.
Yes, it was probably the best international field they ever had. You had Fra ran second, he won the next Caulfield Cup, and River Verdon won the Hong Kong Cup the year before, and then Motivation was behind it, won the next Hong Kong Cup. But the most significant thing was that there was a horse in there called Urban Sea that ran fifth, and she went on and won the next Arc de Triomphe, and she became the mother of Galileo and See the Stars. So, and with Romney Conti becoming the mother of Ethereal, it was really a star-studded field.
What a story. That's quite amazing. And just finally, Laurie, before we let you go, at the moment you take New Zealand in your heart up to Singapore, Waikato in particular. We just saw a horse called Waikato, but there are so many horse names up there. They must be very hard for the commentators to pronounce. I mean, Araki Karako and all those other Maori names you take up there. George Simon would be okay up there, but how are the commentators relating to all those Maori named horses that you got up there?
Well, they seem to Google them up and then they run their tongue around them, and it's probably a lot easier for George, isn't it? Or was, but no, they seem to get around it all right, no problem.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you in New Zealand, but it's more so a pleasure this year, Laurie. You deserve it. You're inducted in the Racing Hall of Fame. I reckon it really must make you feel quite proud.
I'm very proud to have all my children up here. And up here tonight we've got Craig and Roger and Lucinda and husbands and wives, and it's a really proud moment.
Congratulations again, ladies and gentlemen, Laurie Laxon.